Welcome to the Fit Dad Nation podcast, forging strong fathers and raising a stronger generation. It's time to get up or shut up with your host, Steve Roy.
Hey guys, Steve Roy here, host of the Fit Dad Nation podcast. Welcome to the show. Thanks for listening. So, before I jump into today's show, today's show actually may sound like a bit of a conspiracy theory, but I have something I really want to talk about. Just want to share a couple things, and I just want to, first off, just say how proud I am of all the men that are a part of our Fit Dad Nation Inner Circle program. We've got a 45-day challenge going on called Project 45. It's our first ever no cheat challenge. We're 21 days into it now, and the guys are crushing it. Out of, I think, 56 men in the group, 28 joined this particular challenge, myself included. And personally, I feel awesome. So I've cut out all non-primal food. So what that is basically is I'm eating fish, meats, eggs, dairy, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and a little bit of potatoes or sweet potatoes, and everything else is not on the menu. So the Monster energy drinks that I was eating, the candy and the licorice that I was eating, I was eating a lot of pasta, a lot of rice, a lot of heavy carbohydrates, ton of bread. Actually, it's one of my weaknesses for sure. Italian bread, especially from this Italian place down the street. It's amazing bread. So anyway, by cutting that stuff out, and again, so this isn't a conversation about that's good food, that's bad food. That's a whole other topic. But cutting those things out, and I'm not a big guy. I've lost, over 10 pounds in 21 days. And the bigger part, I don't really care about that as much as how good I feel. I mean, I just feel good. Someone commented on my skin because I just stopped eating all those processed foods. And I wasn't eating a ton, but once I've cut them out completely, and now I'm drinking a shitload of water and nothing else. So I'm feeling stronger. I'm definitely leaner. Muscles are already starting to come out again, ones that I haven't seen in a while. And same with the guys in the group. Guys are losing 5, 10, 15 pounds, down a few belt notches, and the compliments they're getting and the energy they have. And it's really not, this isn't actually it wasn't designed to be a weight loss challenge. It was designed to be a mental toughness challenge. Let's get through 45 days without cheating. And it's a feat. I mean, it's not easy to give up all those things that you're used to eating, all that junk and processed carbs and sugars for 45 days straight, because, we have a tendency to slip up a little bit, and, and that's certainly fine. But for this particular challenge, I really wanted to be zero cheats, and that's what we're doing. So I'm really proud of the guys there. We do monthly challenges. We've got another one coming up in March. So if you're a dad and you're looking to join a group of guys a group of dads that are really working together and making some changes in their health and fitness, I definitely invite you to take a look at what we're doing. It's you can be found at fitdadnation.com/inner circle. So I want to talk about, and I posted about this the other day on social. I have a serious problem with the food industry, and I posted something about the fact that, I believe, and again, this is where the conspiracy theory, may come into play, but I honestly believe that the food industry, the diet industry, wants us to struggle and fail, because if they succeed, right, there's no more money to be made. So these food companies, right, a lot of the research that we're seeing on nutrition, right, it's done now not to help our health, right? All the research that's being done, it's to figure out how to sell us more shit and how to get us to buy one product over another. I mean, that's what it boils down to. I mean, the food industry, heavily markets unhealthy processed garbage, fast food, junk, right? Soda. They spend more than $7.5 billion a year on advertising this shit. I mean, and just look at the results, right? Look at our country: 60+% overweight, 30+% obese, childhood obesity, crazy, right? I'm not here to take on the food industry. I'm not here to tackle the obesity epidemic. I'm here to help you. And, I'm going to share my thoughts on why I think the food diet industry is fucking bullshit. I think that it's garbage. I think that too much effort and money is being spent on trying to trick us into buying their products, most of which are terrible for us, instead of actually trying to help us. Think about the diet industry for a second, right? If someone figured out a diet that actually worked long term, at scale, what would happen? Right? They would cease to make money. I read a fact about Weight Watchers, the fact that they make almost all of their money from people coming back to Weight Watchers. I think the number was 84% of people end up back in the system, which is where they make their money, right? So they know it doesn't fucking work. They know it does not work, but they're going to keep selling you the same shit. And because, there's no perfect diet for everybody. It's a very personal thing, but most of them are very, very flawed. I remember looking at, I don't remember, maybe it was LA Weight Loss, one of those, Jenny Craig type of places. And I remember years ago, they had a chicken meal, a chicken dinner that did not require refrigeration. I mean, what does that tell you right there? And this is, that's crazy to me. The preservatives and the chemicals and the fucking garbage they put in there, right? They're not here to help us, right? And I know there's articles out there, a lot actually, that blames the food industry for our health problems, right? And I'm not one of those people. I'm not blaming the food industry because honestly, at the very core of all of this, it's our personal choice, right? It's our personal responsibility to make better choices. The problem is we aren't making better choices, right? It's not that we can't. It's that it's like we're swimming upstream, and it's very, very difficult for most of us to say no to the thousands of messages we see every day, the subliminal, the small, the colors, the smells, everything, the way that the layout of the grocery store is. Everything's designed to get us to buy something, right? And again, it's mostly cheap processed foods that they can make, at scale and make a ton of profit, right? That's not high quality foods. And that's the problem is we are not strong enough. Most of us aren't strong enough to say no when, a Big Mac or a Happy Meal, whatever it is thrown into your face. We're hardwired at this point to say yes to it and eat it. It's sucks, and I don't have the solution for you, but I have some ideas, right? I mean, we're not fucking stupid people, right? I mean, listen, we know which foods are bad for us, but we still choose to eat them, right? And I will say that there's a big kind of curiosity around the whole subject of good foods versus bad foods. Now, if you go to Instagram, you'll see 1,000,001 infographics saying there are no bad foods. It's all about calories. You could eat 1,500 calories of Pop-Tarts and still lose weight, right? That's the big thing. It's really popular on social, and to fucking hate it because while it's technically true, it's very misleading, right? You can eat 1,500 calories of Pop-Tarts and lose weight if your body requires more and you're eating less than that, right? You're in a deficit, sure. But this has nothing about the quality of your calories is just slightly less important when it comes to that stuff. So when someone says there are no bad foods, just eat them in moderation. I'm like, we can't do that, right? Yes, in theory, that makes perfect sense. But we can't do that. We don't know the word moderation. We don't understand that. I'm only speaking for people in this country, but we don't have the strength for that. And so one of the main reasons I did and started this 45-day no cheat challenge, and this is the first one we've ever done in all the years that I've been doing this, 5 years straight here of working on the Fit Dad Nation full time. It's the first ever no cheat challenge, and I decided to do it because I'm just, tired of seeing men struggle when given too much freedom and flexibility because we don't make good choices, right? And I'm no different. I'm not like anything special. I'm not saying I'm mentally tougher than you all, right? I'm no David Goggins or Jocko. I don't have that kind of discipline. Very few of us do. But what I've seen is when you commit to something 100% and say, I am not cheating and I'm just going to stick with this. This is not a long-term thing, right? You're never going to say, I'm never eating pizza. I'm never having another beer, right? That's stupid. But for 45 days, you can do it. And that's what I'm doing. That's what the guys are doing. And we're 3 weeks in. And like I said, it's made a huge difference for a bunch of us. And just because we're sticking to it and we're holding to it. Okay. So, I would say, a couple things. One, when it comes to food, the foods that we're eating, the high sugar foods, the chump, the highly processed junk, right? That creates food addiction, right? Which, I've read that shares some common brain activity with alcohol addiction, right? And so it's a dependency, okay? And we all know that all these foods are linked to all kinds of problems, health diseases. It's just a mess. So again, really boils down to let's, one, take responsibility for your actions. You and you alone control what you put in your mouth, okay? Problem is, on our own, right, left to our own devices, it's extremely, extremely difficult because you have the whole world of food companies, supplement companies, nutrition companies, you even have drug companies. They're pushing on us, and they win. I mean, there's no doubt about it, right? Many, many billions of dollars are being made because they're winning. Okay, so I've found that one of the things that has helped me the most, that has helped my clients the most, is being part of something bigger than yourself. So when you're part of a group or a tribe, and I've talked about this before, you have a team with you that's helping you along. So we have a Facebook group as part of the Inner Circle that's very active, and even guys that are really, really dedicated constantly, almost daily, struggling with certain, choices, right? I went out to dinner for my daughter, right? We went to a pizza joint, and everyone's sucking down these delicious pizza and mozzarella sticks and pitchers of Coke, right? And, here I am thinking, I'm going to have something better, right? And so being part of a group, that guy can come to our group and say, guys, guess what? I wanted that pizza so bad, and I chose not to have it, right? It was my decision. I made a better choice, and I feel good about it. And that's what it's about. So having that tribe is really helpful when it comes to this stuff because, again, we're really up against the fence here, guys. I mean, they have our number. They know exactly how to, these big companies know how to push our buttons and get us to buy their stuff. I'm in the grocery store almost every day, and I just see it, and I'm drawn to those things. I mean, I grew up eating all that shit, Pinwheels and Oreos, and especially Pop-Tarts. I was a big Dr. Pepper fan, right? And there's a reason that those things are everywhere, and obviously millions, and I would say billions of dollars are spent creating these products in a laboratory to get the absolute best flavor, taste, mind-body connection, all that stuff, because it worked, right? It's a moneymaker. And so the food industries, the supplement industries aren't interested in helping us, right? They want to make money. I mean, don't get me started on the supplement industry. I'm not talking about that today, but that's another one. It's like the Wild West. And I don't think most of those companies, other than a few, I mean, First Form is solid on it, Transparent Labs, but a lot of those other big companies even, they're selling you a bunch of fucking garbage you do not need. But that's another story. But I would say a couple things. When you go to the store and you see a diet book, you see a new program online, right? Whatever is out there in the market, it's on social, every coach has got a new program, right? These things are attractive, they're sexy, and it gets you thinking, well, what if this is the one, right? What if this is something that can make the difference finally, right? And that's what the idea is, right? So I don't think there's a diet book on earth that can help everyone, and I think that most diet books are extremely flawed. I think movies like, we'll call it a documentary, Game Changers, it's pseudoscience bullshit, right? Game Changers, Fed Up, Forks Over Knives, there's a whole bunch of them. It's just heavily skewed propaganda directed to steer you into a certain way of life, right? Game Changers, a lot of people have come to me and said, what do you think about Game Changers? I'm really thinking about going plant-based. And I said, why? Watch something that promotes a carnivore diet and then, make your decision, right? Yeah, it's things like this that really confuse the fuck out of people. And so on top of a food industry that doesn't give a shit about us, we've got constant stream of information, most of it garbage, coming from all kinds of sources. But, Netflix, it's a huge company, right? They've got, God only knows how many subscribers, hundreds of millions of subscribers, right? And yeah, they put up some fucking thing called Game Changers, and now everyone jumps on this plant-based diet. And I'm not saying it's bad, because it's not. There's nothing wrong with going plant-based. If it works for you, that's great, but you have to do it for your reasons, and you have to understand what it's all about and why you're doing it. So yeah. And again, I'm not saying that the carnivore diet is any better. I'm just saying none of these things make a lot of sense to me, these extremes. I said this the other day in my social media post. It pays to be polarizing. So, you create some kind of buzz, some hype, some bullshit, whatever it is. All meat is terrible. All plants are terrible, right? You're going to get attention, and guess what that leads to? Sales, right? There's some knucklehead out there. I can't think of his name, but he does something called the snake diet, which he sells this fucking snake juice, which I forgot even what's in it, but he's making these outrageous claims of weight loss, and it's more or less intermittent fasting with some electrolytes in there, and he's been on some one of the daytime TV shows, and it's polarizing, right? It's crazy. He goes out, he goes crazy, he's screaming up and down about how the results are great and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, right? A lot of us that are in the industry and understand this stuff know he's a fucking moron, but he's making money because there's a certain section of the population that's going to say, man, this guy's a fucking genius. Man, he really knows what he's doing. Look at these results, right? And so, it's just another card in the deck stacked against us, and it's like all these things are working against us. Every time you turn on the TV, every time you go into online, into social media, you drive in your car, you can't get away from this. And it's everywhere. You literally cannot get away from it. And so unless you really know what you're doing, or you really want to spend a lot of time doing your homework and due diligence on what's accurate, what's not, you're fucked, because you're going to make decisions based on bullshit. That's what it is. I'm not saying, listen to me, I'm the all-knowing, because that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying is you have to find a way to get through all that shit and start making better decisions, start making healthy choices, stop jumping around on all these fad diets, stop being seduced by, Pop-Tarts on sale and Triscuits and all those delicious foods that are just waiting for you, all right? You have to find a way to do that. And so here's what I teach, all right? This is for me what it boils down to. And again, this isn't rocket science here. This isn't anything that's earth-shattering. This isn't particularly sexy. This isn't going to sell any of my programs, but this is what I teach. This is what I believe. And this is what I think is the best way to approach getting healthy, taking care of your body, and staying there long term. So, number one, you have to use your head, right? Think outside the box. Stop being a sheep. Right, stop being led. Stop listening to Wendy, Oprah, Dr. Oz, Dr. Stork, the doctors, whatever the fuck it is, right? All that bullshit. All right, I'm not saying that they're idiots, but there's a lot of bad and misinformation out there, right? I mean, physicians aren't trained for more than a handful of hours in nutrition. They're not experts by any means. And so if they call themselves a doctor, which, if they're an MD, they have a ton of credibility, but they still don't maybe know what the fuck they're talking about. So you have to understand those types of things, right? I would say number two, stop eating shitty foods. It's not that hard. You know what's bad for you. You know what's going to make you crave more. You know it's going to sit in your stomach like a rock. You know it's going to give you a sugar high and then make you crash. You know it's got a shitload of calories that you're never going to be able to burn off. You know all those things. You have all the information that you need. You do. You just have to use it. You have to, like I said, number one, use your fucking head. Seriously. Don't eat that shit. You don't eat it, okay? Number three, train hard. Train consistently, okay? Weight training is absolutely critical. And I'm not talking about picking up a few weights here. I'm talking about a consistent program of strength training 3-4 days a week. And it has to be progressive in nature, meaning, You need to push yourself every workout. You need to get stronger every workout in some fashion. Maybe your rest is either longer or shorter. Maybe you lift a little bit more weight. Maybe you have a little more time under the bar, right? Maybe you do quarter reps. Whatever it is, constantly be pushing yourself, but you have to have that. Lean muscle tissue is the most important thing we can have for our metabolisms. It's going to help with your bone structure. It's going to help with everything. And the older you get, the more muscle mass you're going to want to have. So I also say, number 4, I tell my clients, let's listen, one day better. That's your goal, right? You don't have to be a rock star. You don't have to go from 0 to 100 in one day. Commit to being better every day. Long-term results require long-term consistency. There is no other way. Seriously, guys, there's no other way, right? If you want long-term results, which we all do, if all you want is six-pack abs and short-term results, just turn this off now and you can unfollow me. This is not the place for you. You got to put in the work. I've been doing this for 25 years fairly consistently, which is why at 48 and a half, I'm in the kind of shape that I'm in. I'll tell you to get more sun, get more sleep, get more sex, have less stress, have less anger, and stop being so indifferent, okay? Those things are very, very important. Huge part of your lifestyle, okay? Number 6, I will say, if your goal is fat loss, which for a lot of you it is, we know that you have to be in a calorie deficit. But here's the thing that most people miss. They're not consistent enough with it to see results. That's the problem, right? People starve themselves for a week, 2 weeks, and they do okay, and then it stops, right? It's because they end up overeating, binging, whatever, on the weekends, on one day, and blow it all to hell because they wipe out their deficit, right? It's not a day-to-day thing. So consistency is absolutely critical. Same with your program. Like, I don't care what kind of weight program, whether it's 5x5, P90X, it's my program, whatever. The key is consistency, not the program. Sure, there are shitty programs, but most are okay, right? You can find a benefit from most programs out there. You have to stick with it to see results, and you have to push through it. Okay, that is the key. So you have to make sure, please, that you focus among other than anything else is consistency with training and eating healthy foods in a deficit if your goal is fat loss. And then lastly, I'll say negative self-talk, excuses, procrastination, all those things killing you, absolutely killing you. And again, this isn't something that you're going to listen to the show and say, oh, you know what, Steve's right. I'm just going to stop all those things today and get after it, right? This shit takes time. You've spent your whole adult life, maybe even longer into your childhood, creating these habits, a fear of success, a fear of failure, right? You're worried about this, and you're pushing everything back to the last minute, and you always find a reason that you can't do something, or all those things. But without that, right, you're going to be fucked, right? So while these things I just mentioned aren't really directly related to the food industry and the fact that they're totally fucking us, I'm saying is fuck all that shit. Just forget it all, right? Forget all that marketing shit. Forget all the stuff you see in the supermarket, the fast foods and the signs for McDonald's and Wendy's and Roy Rogers, and just focus on those very few basics that I just told you, right? I promise you will not go wrong, right? There's nothing extreme in any of the stuff I just said, but believe me, it works. It's basic. It's simple. It's sustainable. It's easy to follow. It's not way out of your comfort zone. You just have to do it, and then you have to do it over and over and over until it's mind-numbingly boring for you. Then you'll start seeing those results, and you'll be amazed at what happens. So anyway, guys, I know this kind of turned into a little bit of a rant. I kind of went sideways a little bit as well, but I wanted to share my thoughts here on what we're up against. All of us are up against food industries that don't give a fuck about us, and so we're on our own to make better choices. So I appreciate you listening. If you guys need anything, you know where to find me. I will talk to you next week.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, if you want more information, check out the Fit Dad Basecamp group on Facebook. And don't forget to stop by fitdadnation.com. Until next time, keep kicking ass and taking the next step. You can do this, Dad.